Okay, we're at 5:30, so I am going to call to order the August 9th, 2023 meeting of the Appointments and Ordinances Committee at 5:30 PM, City Hall, 14 Court Square, Greenfield. This meeting is being recorded by the Appointments and Ordinances Committee. If any other person present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. In accordance with MGLC 30 ASS 20G, no person shall address a meeting of public body without permission of the chair, and all persons shall, at the request of the chair, be silent. No person shall disrupt the proceedings of a meeting or of a public body. If after clear warning from the chair, a person continues to disrupt the proceedings, the chair may order the person to withdraw from the meeting, and if the person does not withdraw, the chair may authorize a constable or other officer to remove the person from the meeting. Roll call vote. Counselor Bullock, I'm present. Counselor Gilmore?
Here.
Counselor Golub? Counselor Healy? Counselor Ricketts?
Here.
Great.
We have people in the waiting room.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to double check. Counselor Golub or Counselor Healy? Okay. What I'm gonna do for the agenda, just so folks know, and for people that are online, is I'm gonna allow public comment after we do the motions. And if people online want to speak, you can put it in the chat. Just put your name and address in the chat and I should be able to see it. Everyone will have 3 minutes. I will time you. Please stop talking when the alarm goes off. I really don't want to have to interrupt people multiple times. Just for folks, everyone to know, we have a list of proposed ordinances on the discussion menu for today. Many of these ordinances have not been presented to us in the way that an ordinance needs to be presented to the council. So most of these ordinances tonight, what we're going to go through is decide which, if any councilors are going to take on and sponsor those ordinances. So we're happy to hear you speak on a subject that it might not be an ordinance that gets taken up by the council in full. And we are not, well, when we go through discussion, we'll find out, but I don't believe we received any ordinances in official proposed language fashion. So we probably won't have any motions made for voting to bring any of these ordinances to full council. Everything will need to move. Anything again? Oh, is there more people? I'm sorry. I clearly am. Oh, that would be great, but it doesn't look like anybody's waving. Oh, no, there is. Definitely just tell me and I'll let you look at it. Okay. For folks online, if you want to speak, put your name and address in the chat and you'll have 3 minutes. Okay, so first I need a motion to accept the March 8th, 2023 minutes.
So moved, Ricketts.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And I have, there's no public hearings tonight. For motions, if there's no opposition, I am going to put all of the reappointments together. Is anyone opposed to me reading all of the appointments as one?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Turn on the camera. Oh, sorry, I didn't turn the camera. I'm clearly very seasoned at this.
Video.
Sorry that you guys couldn't see. The city council moved that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 2-10 affirms the following appointments and reappointments by the mayor. Appointments, Community Preservation Commission, David Brock, term to expire June 30th, 2024. Short term to finish out John Pasiglia's term. Greenfield Local Cultural Council, Marcel Laflamme, term to expire December 31st, 2025. Short term to maintain staggered terms. Human Rights Commission, Kathleen Kenny, term to expire December 31st, 2024. Short term to finish out Irene Wood's term. Human Rights Commission, Quinn Mass, term to expire December 31st, 2025. Short term to maintain staggered terms. Planning Board, Charles Roberts, term to expire June 30th, 2026. Public Safety Commission, Maria Burge, term to expire June 30th, 2026. Reappointments, Board of Health, John Romano, term to expire June 30th, 2026. Zoning Board of Appeals, Peter Wozniak, term to expire June 30th, 2026. Commission on Disability Access, Virginia Disorder, term to expire June 30th, 2026. Historical Commission, David Brock, term to expire June 30th, 2026. Majority vote required.
Second, Ricketts.
Thank you, Penny. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Is any of these appointments or reappointments here tonight that want to speak?
Maria Burge, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve again.
Thank you so much. Okay, now I am going to take public comment. And I'll just go back and forth between. I'm gonna set a timer for everyone, so everyone will have 3 minutes. You are welcome to stay where you are and speak, or you're welcome to sit up here, whichever you would like to do. Paul Jablon. And I think you just need to state your name and your address.
Paul Jablon, 73A Fairview Street here in Greenfield. For those of you who've seen me speak publicly at these kinds of meetings, I usually have notes and statistics, but this is a very personal matter to me, and this is about the NIPS ordinance. I am very much in favor of it. I grew up in a family of alcoholics, and I'm continued in my extended family to have a good number of people who are, well, I would say were alcoholics, but that's ridiculous, are alcoholics, who, and in each case, they use NIPS as a way to keep their use of alcohol, because their families knew they were alcoholics, their use of alcohol secret from their kids, from their significant others, and from other extended family members. And I've seen this in many, many people, but they also used it to fool themselves. They, in conversations with them, they said, oh, if I just use one nip, it's going to be okay. And those of you who are familiar with alcoholism, one nip is not okay. And in many cases, it became 2 nips and then 3 nips, and then they lost their license, and then they almost lost their children. And so I'm suggesting that somebody sponsor this ordinance here on this committee, because it's only my personal experience. But yeah, I couldn't be a bigger supporter of local businesses. People who own local businesses see my face constantly. On the other hand, I know it's a big moneymaker for places that sell alcohol. And I buy alcohol. I'm not against alcohol. Sometimes they even make 4 times the price of it's a bigger bottle. And so I would usually be way in favor of that. But I think it's a profit that's being made by enabling alcoholics to be secret from their families. And I would really like to see that stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Schechtler?
Schechter. My name's Steve Schechterly, 402 Federal Street. I am a small business owner, I own a spirit shop in Greenfield. I certainly understand and can sympathize with Paul's point. However, and we have track records across the state. A nip ban, in my opinion, and has been shown, it's very short-sighted as far as what the results will be. A ban is kind of in my opinion, a knee-jerk reaction. There are so many variables with this nip ordeal. It's not as simple as just banning one size of alcohol. Yes, the nip size is very popular, and many people do use it as a way to regulate their drinking. And what has happened in other communities, such as Chelsea, out on the Cape, where they have implemented these knee-jerk bans, people have moved up to half pints. So if you're an alcoholic, a nip ban is not going to stop you from drinking. In fact, putting a nip ban in place, I would argue, is going to encourage them to move to a bigger bottle, which is going to cause all sorts of issues. Because if you are an alcoholic, you're going to drink the whole bottle, whether it's 50 or 200. And I'm arguing that that is not in the public's best interest as far as regulating someone's alcohol intake. I mean, that is a personal, it's someone's personal decision. A ban is not going to stop that. It's going to, the other aspect to it is it's going to hurt small businesses, because when you implement a ban in one town, those same people are going to drive across town to the next town to get it, and then drive home and still probably, they're going to be driving further with their alcohol. There is an issue with, people claim that the littering is an issue with NIPS. Again, banning is not going to, and has been proven that it doesn't curb the littering. It doesn't curb the alcoholism. The only thing that really happens is it hurts small businesses in that town. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
chance to speak.
That's all I'm waiting.
Thank you. Huh. Sorry. Joan Marie Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Joan Marie Jackson at 2 Chestnut Hill in Greenfield, Massachusetts. I'm here on the home equity about the two motions. And I believe we do have a sponsor, Councilor Gilmore.
Yes, Home Equity has a sponsor.
Yes. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
But yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Greetings, appointments, and ordinances committee members. I, Jo Marie Jackson, real property owner of 2 Chestnut Hill, County of Franklin, City of Greenfield, recommend that you enact the motions presented here tonight to protect real property owners' rights and to acknowledge compliance of the May 25th, 2023 unanimous decision by the United States Supreme Court, proven in the case Tyler versus Hennepin County, that taking more than what is due in taxes and associated fees is deemed unconstitutional. Please be cognizant this was brought to the attention of the City of Greenfield's leadership well over 1 year ago in several pushback columns by Al Norman in the Greenfield Recorder, beginning April 20th, 2022. The City of Greenfield is guilty of taking a minimum of $350,000 from its real property owners through Chapter 60, Section 53. The City of Greenfield intentionally committed these unconstitutional acts with specific intent to injure real property owners with reckless disregard to the real property owners' rights. At this time, I highly recommend the City of Greenfield make victims of this egregious overreach whole by willfully returning all excess equity, interest and fees over and above real property taxes due to the rightful real property owners or former real property owners. Any conduct less than this plain language recommendation will most likely leave victimized real property owners of such unconstitutional taking seeking full restitution through litigation, which will cost the municipality known and doing business as the City of Greenfield unspecified expenditures. Thank you.
Thank you. Mitchell Spate.
Good evening. I'm here on the two motions also. Greetings, Appointment and Ordinance Committee. I, Mitchell Spate, real property owner of 2 Chestnut Hill, County of Franklin, City of Greenfield, hereby approve 2 motions under consideration tonight. These 2 motions protect the uppermost interests of all real property owners, known as equity. The leadership of this city is incorrect when stating there is no legal path to giving full restitution to victims who have been bamboozled or stripped of one of their largest asset. For many of these, this was their key to affordable housing. Chapter 60, Section 87 clearly addresses through the power of sale all excess proceeds from such sale shall be returned to the real property owner or beneficiaries of the estate. On May 25th, 2023, the unanimous U.S. Supreme Court ruling clearly states municipalities taking more in taxes due them, known as excess equity, is unconstitutional. This ruling should supersede and void any tax title taking efforts under Chapter 60, Section 53. It is time for the City of Greenfield to pay up and make its victims whole, otherwise be subject to serious and costly litigation filed by victims seeking full restitution through judiciary courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Al Norman. If there's people online that want to speak, just put your name and address in the chat box, please. Is there anyone on there? Okay.
Good evening, councilors. For the record, my name is Al Norman. I live on Grinnell Street. I want to focus on the actual language that we're trying to propose. I want to thank Councilor Gilmore for introducing this. I want to remind you that last November, the City Council voted unanimously to tell the legislature that we want home equity theft to end. The legislature, as you know, is very long and slow in acting. It could take a year or 2 for them to do anything on this important legislation, even after the Supreme Court has told them that people are not being justly compensated for land that was taken from them. So the first motion says that we should do in Greenfield what Chapter 60, 80, Section 87 says. Very simple. It's just what the banks do. If you have a mortgage with a bank and you don't pay your mortgage, the bank takes you to court, they put a lien on your house, and when they sell the house, they get the proceeds up to the rest, the balance of the mortgage due. Everything else in equity is left in the hands of the homeowners. This is what the Supreme Court said. They said, render unto Caesar what is owed to Caesar and not a penny more. So this motion says you now have the power. The city of Greenfield has the power under this section of the law, and I urge you to show it to your town's attorney, city attorney. You have the power under Section 87 to direct the town tax collector to use what's called the power of sale, not the power of taking. And then you would be acting like a bank. And so that's really the gist of the first one, is that we don't have to wait for the legislature. We don't have to wait for people in Boston to tell us what to do. You can use Section 87 and tell this was written so that towns cities like Greenfield could proactively do something in their own charter to say, this is what we're going to tell the tax collector, just don't do it anymore. And the second one, I made an amendment here on the second one that I wanted to call your attention to. I struck 8 words from it. But on the second one, this has to do with restitution. You know, if we take, $100,000 from a property owner in Greenfield and they owed $50,000 after all the fees were paid for, we owe them $50,000. And so we should make reasonable efforts to contact these owners and tell them that we have taken your surplus equity and we're going to return it to you. And what I eliminated was the collection costs, the legal fees and the interest, because lawyers have told me that's legitimate for the city to keep. But anything over that should be paid plus interest to the homeowner, former homeowner, to make them whole. And to me, if we don't do this, we are opening ourselves up to serious legal jeopardy, because these people will take us to court, can take us to court. And frankly, I hope they do, because this is a process that is embarrassing to me as a citizen of Greenfield. There was an article today in the paper. Town of Conway took 11 properties today. They just don't get it. So thank you very much for sponsoring this, and I hope it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Nobody online still? Okay. I'm going to take Jesus. We do Greenfield first and then Bernardston.
Garth, I think, for
Oh.
the chat.
Garth, is your name's in there?
Yes.
Do you want to speak now or do you need a minute?
A minute's fine. Yeah, if you got people that are physically present, why don't we let them go?
Okay, great. Jesus, do you want to go?
Sure. Jesus Leva, 88 Deerfield Street. I'm going to be really brief. I just came here to support Maria Burgess' appointment to the Public Safety Commission. I think that she is someone who has valuable experience to lend to the Public Safety Commission, and there are clearly vacancies. And I think that's how we should be looking at appointments. We should be actively encouraging all the people who are expressing interest in being appointed to be volunteers, because it's people volunteering to be a part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Garth?
Sure. Let me find my. Hello, folks. Yeah, thanks for bringing up all these various ordinances. I know it's a lot. I'm Garth Schoenfeld, 26 Grinnell Street. I'm, I guess, somewhat infamous as a leaf blower non-supporter. Leaf blower hater sounds like a mean thing. But what I'm really interested in is, people being able to actually enjoy their, peaceful enjoyment of their property. So there are currently over 100 different municipalities across the country that have banned leaf blowers in one degree or another. The Newton and Brookline are probably our closest ones, and it's both a health and safety thing and a quality of life thing. So I hope someone will take it up and help support it. Yeah, blowing a bunch of like dirt, feces, grass clippings, whatever else into the air, while we're in a continued respiratory pandemic really seems like a bad idea. Noise pollution, as we know, is a huge issue countrywide, and there's no reason for someone to be in the neighborhood three or 4 days a week, disrupting everyone within a 300 yards or a quarter mile or so. So I sent an email with a bunch of links to the various ordinances and ideas around buyback and other things about the horrific emissions from leaf blowers. But yeah, I would just like to state my support and hope the council will see fit to work on it. And I'm happy to help. Obviously it's going to be a discussion. It's going to be some amount of compromise. I think a lot of the towns have had various compromises around their timing and everything else. But I really think it would go a long way to improving the quality of life here in Greenfield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Sexton.
Excuse me. Hello, my name is Chris Sexton. I'm a resident of Berniston, but I own Regary's Redemption Center on Deerfield Street in Greenfield. And I'm here to talk to the committee to not ban the nip bottles, basically because I am working on the state level to change the bottle bill. Currently, there are 7 different bills in front of committee regarding expanding the bottle bill to include water bottles and ciders and all the trash that we see on the side. And one of those is also the nip bottles. It is shown that when they add a deposit to an item, that item has value for someone and someone will pick it up. I can tell you from firsthand experience, people pick up 5-cent cans all the time and bring them to me. Nip bottles will be exactly the same. The state legislature is very animate about approving and moving forward with the bottle bill to increase the can deposit to 10 cents. And they have basically told the distributors there is either going to be a deposit on the nip or there will be a statewide ban. So as much as I appreciate the efforts of Greenfield to kind of curb the littering issue of nips, I think the state has already come up with an idea to basically solve the problem, either by adding a deposit or by banning it themselves. Again, deposits work, and I hope that the committee will take that into consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa Winters.
Melissa Winters, I'm also a resident of Berniston, but a small business owner here in Greenfield where we do sell nips. I am absolutely sensitive to the nature of both littering and alcoholism about this issue. I do want to say that in what was posted online for the agenda of this meeting, they did mention that both Amherst and Northampton had successfully implemented bans of this kind, which is not true. In our area, there's no one in Franklin County that's done it, and in Hampden County, it's only Chicopee, and then there's a handful of towns, mostly on the Cape and around Boston, that have implemented these bans so far with mixed results, and I haven't seen any actual data that supports anybody's theories on how it helps to curb alcoholism or litter. As a person, I just don't like banning things. I don't think that responsible people should be punished for the actions of a small amount of the population that abuses either alcohol or littering. I don't like littering. I don't like people who litter. If I see people litter, I call them out on it. I pick up other people's litter, and there's a lot of litter out there. And there, like Chris said, there's a lot of water bottles and other things that don't have deposits on them that also are trash on our streets, and a lot of single-use plastics. That's a whole nother issue as well. But I just am not for banning things. I don't think that that's an effective way of dealing with the situation. There are other better ways to try to deal with all of the issues that we see here. And I would like to say that as somebody who sells nips, there's a variety of different reasons that people buy nips. And it's not just for portion control. There are certain things that there are certain things that aren't available in larger sizes. Sometimes nips are just cheaper than buying a larger size, even though that is not the case in everything. There are certain things. Sometimes people just want to have one drink and they don't want to have a whole bottle sitting in their liquor cabinet for 2 years because they decided that they wanted a gin and tonic on a nice day. I don't think that there's certainly social issues about it for alcoholism. More people litter with their cigarette butts, which is another thing. Again, I just don't think that bans are a way to bring effective change. It's just going to drive business to other places, and it's really not going to help with anything. Thank you. And I appreciate that you opened this up for comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online or in person that hasn't spoken?
Is it possible to speak on more than one?
I'll give you one more turn now.
For less than a minute?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
Does anyone else want to speak? Okay, go for it.
I'm just going to stand here in place. I just wanted to, apropos of the gas outdoor equipment, I wanted to enter into the record that this week, Home Depot announced that by 2028, it wants more than 85% of its US Canadian sales of outdoor power equipment like push lawn mowers, leaf blowers, and trimmers to, quote, run on rechargeable battery technology instead of gas, close quote. And I bring that up because one possible compromise here, if there is objection, for example, from small businesses in the industry who survive on gas blowers, to give them advance notice that by 2026 or 2027, we will only allow electric-driven machinery so that anybody who's made an investment in this equipment has several years to adjust. Because I'm sensitive to the fact that some of these people that are out there, they seem to have nothing but gas. But I think it's really interesting that Home Depot, which is a supplier of many of these pieces of equipment, they're not going to be offering gas anymore. So this is like what's happening with EVs. Many of us in this room will be driving EVs in the future, whether we like it or not. So I would say that this concept is coming. It's coming to Greenfield and everywhere else. Home Depot is just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Oh, yep.
Louise Amier, 56 Madison Circle. I'd like to speak in support of what Norm just suggested. As Garth was saying, I think that the gas-powered leaf blowers are an abomination on the ears. And as has been found in research, an extremely polluting source of equipment or use of equipment for the atmosphere. But being sensitive to the fact that there are small businesses being affected by bans, I'd like to second Al's proposal that people be given a notice that it will happen in a year or two or three. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online? Okay. Let's see, where are we? Okay, so for discussion, what I'm gonna do for each ordinance is I'm gonna go down the line. What since we don't have any like formal drafts, proposals in front of us, what I'd like to do is get like any updates, just like if you can give a general update on where you're at with your ordinance, if it's one that's taken up. And any information that counselors may need. And then what I'd like to request is that anyone that has an open ordinance up for discussion does have edits in at least a week prior to our September meeting. Jennifer, do you have something? Sorry, Director Hoffman.
You could call me Jen. I had a question. I've been just thinking about the gas thing, and I didn't hear the whole discussion, obviously, because I came in late and then I had an emergency call. I just had a question about the disposal of the batteries and where they would be disposed of. Would they be disposed of in Greenfield or elsewhere? I'm
So
not,
right now, we haven't gotten there yet in the agenda.
okay, that's, I didn't know if that was covered. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We had a lot of public comment, and so we had a lot of public comment, so we're just getting to discussion items right now.
Okay.
And so we'll
Sorry
get
about
to that, and then I would love to, if we can address your question, I would love to
Thank you.
address it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So the first one is the proposed ordinance to ban gas-powered leaf blowers in Greenfield. I apparently did say I would sponsor this in the July meeting, which I didn't remember until the clerk's office told me. When I looked at this, what I believe I am going to do, this proposal came in with 100 signatures and a constituent in my precinct. So what I'm actually going to do is I did some research myself online. There's some ways that towns have done these type of ordinances where they don't necessarily like ban a gas powered leaf blower, but there is buyback programs that are put into place, that there's warnings like you guys were saying this year. And then I did look at our bylaws regarding noise, which are, I don't even know if you can't really call it like a noise ordinance or anything. It's a bylaw that mentions noise. So I'm happy to sponsor something related to this. It is probably not going to be a ban on gas-powered leaf blowers, but I'm hoping that it will address some of the early morning noise complaints that we've been getting. And so I will have some proposal for that in the September meeting. But there's no language. The language that was given to us, honestly, I'm pretty sure it was AI generated. So I'm gonna rework it and make it a real thing. Anyone have any questions or additions to any committee members, any questions or additions to the gas powered leaf blower?
I have a question.
Yes.
So some folks have mentioned the battery powered ones. Are they really any quieter than the gas powered ones?
They are significantly quieter, so says the internet. And there's also people sent me info. I believe Jesus sent me info. So a lot of people sent me info about this over the last week, and whatever unit of measurement they blow in is now comparable to each other, which I didn't know. That was a concern. Yeah, something. Yeah. I don't know.
Something like that.
No, that's whatever unit of measure they blow the leaves
Cubic.
is comparable to one another now, where like 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. I read an article on it yesterday. So I'm gonna put together something. Our bylaws are very slim on enforcement, and slim on just exactly what, like the timing of noise. I was trying to pull it up here, but I can't find the place that it is in this list. So I'll put together something for September that will be put ahead of time on the agenda. So people that have concerns about it are welcome to look at it ahead of time and give comment before our meeting. Or come to our meeting. It's the best attended A&O meeting we've ever had. Anyone else on gas powered lawnmowers? Leaf blowers? Yes, go ahead, Director Hoffman.
Is the time for discussion? I
Yeah,
just had,
go ahead. We're actually like not gonna have discussion, but I'm happy to take your questions and because I'm gonna be making this
Writing it
over the
up.
next month. Yeah.
so no, this came across, my desk probably last year. I went to the mayor with it. She requested that I call up, many different, people around to find out, like, would there be a different cost? What type of leaf blowers do you use? A whole bunch of different information. I went around and asked different businesses in Turner's and in Greenfield, everyone that basically, not everyone, but I would say about 6 different businesses that serviced Greenfield. And I heard some concerns from that side. One was the cost it would ultimately cost the people that are wanting these services. Because, and this is what I heard last year, it could have changed, so I don't want to, so I was just wondering if that was looked into at all. Because according to the people I spoke to last year, because they might need more batteries and charging equipment, that it may ultimately increase the cost on people using their business. So that was my first concern. And I just wanted to bring it out there for, future discussion or research if need be, if you needed me to research that further. And the second thing that I was a little personally concerned about, I'm very much pro-green, obviously working in the health department. I am just concerned about the battery waste and where it goes because it doesn't break down. And I just wanted to know, where does it go? The effects that gas has on our environment is obvious, but the effect that these batteries have that are buried underground because they're toxic are also considerable. So I just wanted to have that open for discussion and research. Because I think that's something we should keep an open mind about, like what is better for Greenfield and the cost analysis, just for the other residents in Greenfield who use services from these companies. As for noise, I deal with a lot of noise, and gas powered stuff is definitely quieter per decibel. But it's still going to be noisy. If you do something at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's still going to be an annoyance and a nuisance to the people in our community. However, we're working with businesses that have, huge amounts of people to get through. So it's either going to happen in the morning or it's going to happen in the evening when you're eating dinner, because they're going to still have to meet their business. So I just wanted to bring that out there since I hear heated discussions from both sides. And I just wanted some answers because I need to answer to both sides in my position. So I'm not taking any sides. I have my own opinions, but I just wanted to bring that out for future research. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, I will look into the battery waste piece. That's a piece I hadn't researched yet. But I did read about buyback programs. I read some ordinances in other places that had businesses grandfathered in. And then the way they worked around that was by having timing limitations on when you could use gas powered, that were broader than our timing limitations, which right now are like 10, all it says is particularly loud and or disruptive noises shall be avoided between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And I believe that's in our zoning ordinance, zoning bylaws. And that's all it says. There's like no enforcement piece in here. So I will look into the battery stuff and I'll have something for next month's meeting. I'm gonna know all about leaf blowers. The proposed ordinance to ban the sale of nip bottles. And also, I just wanted to note that he's not here, but Counselor Lapinski had also said that he would bring this up, that he would take this on, but you have to come to committee meetings in order to work on an ordinance. So you don't know if it's going to be feasible. If he wants to take it on, I'm happy to step back and let him do it. But proposed ordinance to ban the sale of nip bottles of alcohol in Greenfield. This one is looking for a sponsor. Is there anybody who wants to sponsor this here tonight?
I do not, so I just want to let you know that I am not for the ban of nip bottles at all, so I could not sponsor this. As somebody who's a pedestrian, I have more problems with energy drinks and fast food drinks. I see those cups and stuff more. So it's too unfair across the board. So I have to not be a sponsor on this.
Okay, thank you, Penny. Can you? I need to take a 2-minute recess. My teenagers called me 5 times. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Do we all want to take a 2-minute?
I would say we all take a 2-minute break. Let's all take it. No, Cammy, not. I don't actually, I'll hand it over to you. Penny, you know better than I do what to do.
She's just on a phone call, right?
Yeah,
All right,
she's on a phone call.
So did you want to sponsor? You're the only one left on the.
Did I
committee
want to
except for
sponsor?
Derek. The nip bottle?
I'm not able to sponsor this right now. It's something that I hear both sides and I'm not sure, but I'm not able to sponsor it today.
Okay, no, thank you. Thanks for the input. Nope, as long as it's on. So I think we should just table this and we'll give Derek a chance to weigh in if he wants to take it, or any other counselor, they don't have to be on A&O, could take this up. So I say that we table this until next month and see if anybody comes forward. If no one comes forward, it just stays on the table.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me go slowly into the next piece. Did she just come back?
No,
Okay.
she's back.
I did come
So
back.
Councilor Bullock,
Yeah.
we've decided that we will table this to next month to see if any counselor wants to sponsor it.
Okay. That sounds good.
And it can stay on the table until we bring it back up, correct?
Right, it can stay on the table forever. No, until, yeah, until a counselor sponsors it, it should not come every
I
month.
have like 20
We
minutes.
don't need
I
public
can't go to bed.
input on a monthly basis.
My
if no
daughter's
one's
taking her.
sponsored.
Yep, Jennifer?
Are you okay first, Councilor Bullock? Are you set? You can stay, or do you need to go, or?
I need to go. I have an animal that got hit by a car and my teen is the only one home. But I'm gonna, she is heading to the vet with them, so I'm gonna stay for 20 minutes and then I'm gonna go meet her. And,
Okay, all right.
yeah, she's got a neighbor and she's okay.
Okay.
Are you sure?
The kid is okay. I don't know. The neighbor was going with her. So I'm okay. They're gonna get to the vet and then I'm gonna go meet them.
Okay.
Okay,
so
that
sorry.
was nip bottles or was that?
That was nip bottles.
Okay.
They voted to
Nip bottles
table.
were fine. Go to the next, yeah.
Great. The ordinance to address dog bites, I've worked on that ordinance. There is a draft that we have that needs to be edited. And so I'll edit that and I'll get it to folks by our September meeting as well.
Okay.
The ordinance for surplus equity. Counselor Gilmore, do you have an update on that one?
Yeah, so we already have, that came to us with language, and I think it's fine for us to debate the language as written. My
Okay.
only thing that I
Thank
would
you.
say is we should separate these two, because if for some reason the disposition of surplus equity fails, then there's no point in talking about restitution, and it feels like we're putting the cart before the horse. So I feel like those should be, they should follow each other.
Okay, so we need to separate the two. Was the language that we have in the packet the most updated? Because I thought I saw that there was updates that were sent recently.
There was one update and that was deleting these 8 words.
Oh, I see it. Yep, it's edited there. Okay, so we will, for next month, we'll split this in half and we'll delete those 8 words. And then hopefully we can vote on it in our September, unless we can edit this and then move it to council floor, or do we have to vote on it in committee before we move it to council floor?
No, so what we should,
I think we should.
yeah, so normally what we do is, when you've got language that's already in an ordinance, or like in a format that we can use, we can do some wordsmithing. If a counselor is uncomfortable with something, sometimes there are some compromises that are made, amendments and things like that. Those recommendations, once the subcommittee votes on them, would move to the full council. And then again, there's an opportunity for amendments, compromises, and but yeah, this
Okay.
is something that I mean, this feels like it's ready for showtime. I don't want to, I mean, you're gonna be distracted, so this is fine to wait till next month. I just want to take the second part out until after the first part passes.
Okay, great. So for next month, we'll have this split and we'll have the section, the 8 words redacted. And then we will vote and move it forward then.
Perfect. Yep.
Great. The proposed resolution to support the amendment for the state opioid settlement fund. This one I think is no. I believe that there's like automatically going to be a fund created. Do you have an update on that?
Sure, yes. So I submitted a financial order.
Yeah, you can come.
Sure. I did submit a financial order for, in time for the August, I think, first reading to create the stabilization fund for the opioid monies. We anticipated that the legislature would create a special revenue fund that we could utilize, but they haven't done that yet. So
Okay.
given that we are planning and organizing around spending that money, we need to set it aside and start, have it available in a separate fund as it should be.
Great.
Okay, so just to be clear, so that order to create that separate fund, will that be in Ways and Means next month or what?
This month, yeah.
So they scheduled a meeting
great.
for next week to look at that. And I sent it to, I sent you back a copy of it today and
Great.
a copy council disorder, so they would just have it, we both have it, so you can see.
Okay.
And the details, materials to support it.
Okay, great.
Let's do it. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
The proposed ride for hire ordinance, Counselor Gwynn is going to take that on, and there is some updated language that he is going to get us as well.
Okay.
Amendments to MDR.
I can speak to that.
Okay, great. I'm like,
I talked to Al. I just asked him so that I could understand what this is beforehand, and I was unable to watch EDC last night. I'm not sure if any of you belong on EDC, but what Al shared was that that is going to go, that the amendments to reduce the number of the threshold of projected car rides that are that are in a major development review, that the EDC is going to take that on.
okay, great.
And so that will stay there. That's what he said. Stephanie has a question going back to that, but I'm just, before we go back to that, I'm wondering if, does anyone else, does that?
Yeah, they talked about it in chairs too. I think if anyone had questions, I believe Counselor Elmer talked about it in taking that on in the chairs meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
And at EDC, they did talk about that.
Okay.
They did talk about MDR and they wanted to bring that back for review.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. Stephanie just wrote a message saying that she has a question about her proposal.
About the proposed,
Opioid.
yeah. Stephanie, go ahead, you can ask the question.
Thank you, Mary Ann. I just wanted to know from Diana what the total amount is currently in the opioid fund and if any expenditures had been made from that.
No expenditures have been made. As of June 30th, it was 199,000. And I think we were anticipating additional payments shortly. I haven't looked to see if we'd received those in August yet, but none of that money has been spent. So all of that money would go into the stabilization fund, presumably.
And for folks who are interested about that process, I believe there's a meeting being held at the Recover Project for peers and people that have been affected by opioid use in Franklin County. I'm not sure of the date, but if you look on the Recover Project like Facebook page, I think they posted it there. And there's a like liaison who's working with them, who's working with the city office, the city's offices too.
Okay.
One thing I can add to this, I'm not sure if this is part of what's coming forward through Ways and Means, but I know reading what Stephanie's proposal about a month ago was that she had requested, and I think really rightfully so, a distribution of people being on the, I don't know if it would be a task or a committee input, so that there would be public input. So I can commit to just tracking that through Ways and Means. And if there's some additional piece that's needed, talking to Stephanie and thinking that through and bringing that forward.
Great.
I know you had said that, but there's a lot on your plate.
If you want to track the financial piece of it, that's great. I'm attending the city meetings and so I'm happy to give updates on like the process piece of it.
Because I think Stephanie actually had almost outlined when we were having discussion about who might be included in that public participation process. Yeah. She actually had identified some of those people in her proposals.
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying, that we are intending to do that type of outreach. So, and you're involved in that. So,
and there was like that first meeting, there was a broad, what I'm really hoping we'll get to is a outlined process that matches the guidelines that are set forth appropriately and that have had input from the public.
Great.
7.7 is the last one.
So I can speak to that. So Derek and I have agreed. So that process, I think it was unrealistic for us to say that there was going to be consensus. It never was facilitated toward, I mean, we did a great job. I think we did a great job, all the people who were on that committee. And I think that we've come to agreement actually, which is slightly surprising and really fortunate. And Derek and I are meeting on Friday to, I think, hopefully finalize the language, that we will bring to A&O. So I'm really optimistic coming out of that process.
Okay.
Great.
And I hope to have that language for everyone by to be able to submit it before committee chairs.
Great. Councilor Ricketts, did you have something?
Nope.
Okay. Any new business?
Nope.
Any old business?
Motion to adjourn?
Stephanie, I'm sorry, can you email me and Catherine and Diana and I'll make sure your question gets answered? I'm really sorry. I have to go to the emergency vet.
But we're good.
email me, Stephanie. I will answer all your questions.
Yeah, I'll make
me.
Any
CC me on that.
So sorry about your animal.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Any old business? Next meeting is in September. I don't remember when, but it'll be posted. Motion to adjourn, someone?
Yep, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck, Marianne.
Be recording.
Thank you. God, my poor kids.
Need any help? Do you need anything?
No, I think
Ride?
God,
Are you going to Vesh?
I'm going to Vesh and you gotta just hang it up there. She can
Marianne,
drive.
did you stop your recording?
I think she's gonna stop it now. Yep.
Okay.